Good morning everyone, I hope you're all doing well. So I thought we'd have a go in Grazio Salvo's Wild Soul. Now I haven't touched this book I don't think since I think the last page was 2020 that I did in here. I've done a few but so they're really old, but yeah, look, August 2020. So I thought we'd do a page, and I thought I would base with my Neocolors, and then we'll go over with pencil. I don't know what pencil we'll use yet, but I thought we'd do the Leopard page because I just love her. I love her little bob hairstyle, and of course we've got this gorgeous close-up. Now I don't know how this is going to work, but this book is available on Amazon. I will link it down below. I can't vouch for the quality of this. I got this from Etsy, like I say, years ago now. This is really lovely quality paper, good cardstock. So I can't vouch for the quality of the one that it comes on Amazon. But I mean, you could get your alcohol markers out. I don't know what it's like, but you'll have to, if you've got it, let me know. Put it in the comments so that other people can, if other people want to buy it, they can. So I've got my Caran dashboard here. I've got some water and a few brushes by the side of me. That one's dropped in the water. That's never good. And I've got a selection of colours here. So I've got a lot of greens because I'm thinking of just doing a sort of mishmash of fuzzy jungly stuff. And then I've got some colours for our cheetah. And I've got Flash. This one's called, so we'll give it a go. I don't know how this is going to turn out, but we can try, you know. So I'm going to go in really lightly with Flash, and then I'm thinking maybe Polychromos, because I haven't had my polys out in a while, and they have these beautiful earthy natural tones. So I'm just going to put this on. I'm going to try and do it neatly just in case it doesn't spread out particularly well. But it'll give us a good base. It is quite dark grayscale, these pictures, so alcohol markers would be fabulous. They are single-sided in this book. I presume they will be on the Amazon one. But this is one of those books that I talked about. Do you remember me saying about doing some videos with older books that are still available on Amazon? This is one of them. Okay, I think that's enough. Right, I've got a wet brush. Let's see how we do this. Oh, it works beautifully on here. I've given up with my water brushes because they put down too much water, and that then leads to bleed through. It also leads to blotchiness. A bit more water on the brush. And yesterday on my Patreon we did some Inktense work, so it got me thinking about water mediums and how quick they can be. Okay, so we've got a base. She's a bit yellow, but we've got a base nonetheless. Okay. So to base our cheetah, I've got russet, saffron, and I've got golden ochre. So you can see here, shall I bring you in a little bit? There we go. Stay still, camera. So you can see here where Grazio have given us the grey shadowing. So I'm going to use that to my advantage, and I'm going to come in with the russet, and I'm going to fill this up. Now I may well do our hair in the same colours. We'll see. See how this turns out first. I've never, I don't think I've done Neocolors in here. A lot of these pictures I did with chalk pastel pencils, because I was into that at the time and how easy they blended. It's funny how you go through phases of things, isn't it? Okay, so I don't want to put too much down because they are fairly generous with the pigment, let's put it that way. So did you all have a lovely Easter? Have a nice break. Okay, now I'm going in with the saffron. Did you eat lots of Easter eggs? Do you know what? I didn't have one Easter egg. How sad is that? Not one Easter egg. We'll pull that down here. I've got a picture here. So we need a little bit here. And we'll pull it down just a little bit on his nose. And we'll have some round the lip here. Yeah, not one Easter egg. Oh, poor Lucy. And we need some on the face here. So I'm sticking with this medium colour to get some lay down. And then we'll just see how that goes, because I need a light colour too. But that might have to come with some pencil. What have we got? We've got pale yellow, and we've got beige if you use it gently. That might work. But let's just get some colour down. Okay, then I'm going to come in with the golden ochre now. So I'm just trying to do it as if I was colouring it and not going to activate them. Give me a best chance of having half decent image. I've been very brave. I've gone straight in, look, and I'm overlapping colours. Usually with Neos I would put it on the board and then put it down because I'm too chicken to do anything else. But today I feel let's just pile in. Why not indeed? So we put the russet here. Is it russet? Saffron, sorry. Put the saffron around the russet. And then we'll come in with a little bit of this golden ochre. Okay, best fun part, let's activate. Oh gosh, I'm very nervous. Okay, so we're going to come in from the light parts and activate into the dark, so I can control that dark colour we put in there. Oh, this paper is perfect. So have you got this book? If you've got this book from Amazon, I know I said before, but would you please put in the comments what the paper's like? Is it Amazon paper or is it a quality paper? It would be very interesting to know. Because we could revisit with alcohol markers if... on a different page if the paper is not like this. Yeah, so this was one of those books that I was talking about when I'm going to put more water on my brush to dilute this golden ochre and just pull that edge out just so we get that soft colour there. Yeah, this was one of those books that I was talking about. You know, I've seen a lot of comments where people say, you know, well, we see these books get flipped through but then no more, or you'll get, you know, one or two colourings and then they disappear from YouTube life, shall we say, and that's probably down to views. As creators, we're under quite a bit of pressure when you put your YouTube studio on. It tells you your performance. And it's quite disheartening. It will say to you, oh, you know, this video is not doing as well as your other ones. This is 10 out of 10. And it's really disheartening. So probably the reason behind the fact that we see flip throughs but we don't see many colour alongs in a certain book could well be down to the fact that they don't perform so well, and so creators don't use them anymore, which is a real shame. Anyway, look at that. Super, super easy. I'm just going to drag some of that golden ochre in so we get a nice light colour. Super easy. We'll come back and readdress that yellow skin. She doesn't need to be jaundiced. That's no good in life. It's bad for you. But let's see how much we can get done with the Neos before we have to put any pencil in. There we go. Love it. Isn't that cool? I love that dark colour that we put on the russet. That is beautiful. So I might revisit that and put a little bit darker in here. But that's, yeah, that's looking good. Alright. So I wanted some jungly colours behind them. So I got out a lot of greens. We might need to add some more, but I got out... I'm not going to do like the whole page. I just want some colour behind them. And I thought jungle would be good, even though she's like sort of dressed urbanly, if you like. Urban wear. I've got... what have I got? Dark green. I've got moss green. Chromium oxide green, and I've got emerald green. So I think let's start behind them, so if I don't like it I can just fade it out and we can have sort of nothing going on at the front. We can just, you know, leave it be and be safe. So we're going to start with our dark green, and I might want something a little brighter, because these are quite dull greens, but we can put that in at the front if this works. So I'm going to follow round her while we're waiting for all that to dry. That's the only downfall, isn't it, with good quality paper, is it takes a while to dry. I'm going to move you down a bit. There we go. So I'm just following round her with this dark green. Try and keep it neat, Lucy. Alright, let's go in now then with, well, let's have some emerald. Emerald is very bright, so we'll put that in with the dark, because they're both like blue greens. And we'll just put some patches in. And pull that out toward... I don't know how this will turn out. That's the only thing with water mediums. You have no way of knowing, other than your swatches, how this will turn out. Okay, now we'll come in with the others. So I'm going to come in with a little bit of the moss green. Ooh, that's a nice jungly colour. We can overlap them. So all those colours mix. Let's do that. And then let's put in the chromium oxide. Like I say, we can make this bit dark, but we can bring in some lighter greens over this side should we need to. Or if I hate it. Okay, let's try that, folks. Let's activate this little section. Now, I don't know if we can erase this, because it would have been nice to keep that. Well, you can somewhat erase them, look. Should have perhaps put some washi tape down, but never mind. Okay, let's go. So I'm going to go in from the lightest. and we're going to activate that, and I'm just going to go in circles to smush them all in. So hopefully we end up with this sort of wispy, jungly vibe going on there. Now the one thing to note with Neos that I've found over the years, and it's just my experience, so don't come at me, is that if you don't activate them properly, that waxy film stays on them and it makes it very difficult to put pencils over. So you need to make sure that they're properly activated. So if you've ever put Neos down and you're like, oh well, I can't colour over them, it might be that they're not activated. So let the page dry and then come back in and do, I'm going to put some more of this chromium oxide, a little bit more of the yellowy chromium oxide and the moss in there. Yeah, it might be that they've just not activated properly, so just something to consider. That's just my findings. I like it with the yellow in, a little bit more moss, so I might let that dry. And then add more of the moss. But we're going to have just like that, just a blurry background, and you see how easy that was. Just scribble it down and then blur it out. So I'll let that dry. And then, right, I don't know what colour to do with her coat. So, if we use the colour wheel, the opposite of this sort of burnt orangey colour is blue. So blue would look good. We could do a blue, she could have a blue coat. Okay, what colour blues have we got? Let's do night blue, 149. Is that it? Did I? No. Of course, that would be too simple just to pick it straight up, wouldn't it? So I store mine in here, in one of these little 72 cases, but at the back it's got a section, and of course mine get chucked in. But if you ever, like, because I brought mine open stock, so I never, sadly, had a night blue. I never had the tin. I always wanted the tin and I never had it. Gutting. Okay, so we're going to do night blue. And we're going to do, let's see, a colour that will go with that really nicely. Is maybe ultramarine. Got to try and find that now. Sorry, folks. There we go, ultramarine. This is the downside to not planning the page before you come on. Okay, so I'm going to come in with my night blue. I will finish the background. And like I said before, I'm going to try and stick to as if I was colouring it and not going to activate it. Obviously it's never going to look superbly wonderful. But you can sharpen these as well. I have got a point on this one. I've obviously used it for some kind of detail. I just use a pastel pencil sharpener. Let me show you. I'm sure I have it here. Yeah, here it is. Derwent pastel pencil sharpener. It's specifically for pastel pencils, but I keep it separate because I don't want it to mess up like my Dar 133 or that I use and I love. And also you can replace the blades on those. So we're going to come in like that. Like that. Okay, we'll have a little bit of the dark round the front. Around that zip. Like that. And and then we'll come in with the ultramarine, overlap those colours and bring that down, but I'm going to leave a white gap in the hope that I can drag down the ultramarine with more water and just get a lighter, easier gradient. That's my hope. A bit like we do with watercolours, you know, you can, the more water you put, the less intense the pigment is. So I'm going to avoid the zip, and we'll deal with that later somehow. And then we'll come in here, overlap that over that, what was it, night blue, something like that, what was it? Yeah, night blue. Like that. Got a bit scruffy. Okay, let's leave it at that, because we can always add more once it's dry, which is the beauty of Neos. Okay, so again, I'm going to wet this bit, and then I'm going to pull out that ultramarine and try and get a really light version of it, which seems to work. There we go. Okay, a bit more water on my brush. Now I might need to come back in and darken that up, because I've been a bit conservative with my blue there, I think. But I'm just going to pull it out like this. Cautious around that little zip. And I'm just rinsing off my brush in between so I don't drag too much dark in. Much easier to come back and put another layer on or pencils over the top than it is to try and put a thick layer down initially. Quite like the painterly look on it. And it's so easy. You know, when I first got my Neocolors, I used them all the time, because the colours in the set are absolutely beautiful. You can paint on this palette, which we haven't used yet. You can scribble on this palette and then mix it like paint. And for me, they're just a win-win. They're just gorgeous, and I haven't found anything else that compares to them really. I've got the some gelatos, and they're nice, but they're not like this. These are like sort of in a league of their own, really, I think. Just in my opinion. In terms of, this is in terms of water mediums. And that goes really nicely with the orange on our leopard. Just rinsing off, because again I don't want too much colour on my brush, and I want to drag it out because they will reactivate, they're resoluble. There we go. Got a little bit up here. This is a Winsor & Newton foundation brush, size 2. I love these. They come in a pack. They're synthetic, but they're really awesome. They hold enough water. This is just my findings, but they hold enough water for you to have control. But they keep their shape really well. They clean off really nicely. Just going to pull those creases out. There we go. Alright, so she's got a blue coat that we've got to wait and let dry. It's all pretty wet. So let's go in. I'm really happy with this background. So I'm going to bring you back in a little bit. Actually, I'm going to let this dry for 2 minutes, have a break, and then I'm going to come back and we'll fill in this background with our beautiful greens, because I really like that effect. I knew I wanted it jungly, and I think that's going to be really cool. But I'm going to let it dry because I'm going to smudge everywhere. You know what I'm like. I'm a klutz. So I'll be back in 2 minutes, and we will, well, 2 seconds for you, and we'll continue. Her face is almost dry. Alright, I'll see you in a second. Okay, I dried it off. I cheated. I dried it off with my heat gun. I'm too impatient. But it does make, the heat gun does make the page go crinkly, but once you close the book or you put pencil over the top, that'll sort itself out. Right, I want to have a look at this face. I want to see how much we can do with just the Neos. That would be good, but so I've got salmon pink here, and I am going to put it on my board, I think. Well, actually, let's be brave. Come on, Lucy Loops, let's do it. So I'm going to put a little bit of salmon pink here. Now it will reactivate the flesh colour underneath, which is brilliant, because we can then blend them in. Let's just be brave, people. I'm actually really enjoying this. I forgot just how much I love this medium. I'm going to put some on her lips just to take out that grey. I've been so blessed and lucky to have these things. Like I say, I bought them open stock years ago, and they last forever. They're a really good investment in my opinion. You know, if you want some colours, you can get them open stock individually, I mean. And they just seem to last forever. Okay, we're going to try that before I do any more. I'm going to switch over to a smaller brush. This is a Amazon one, that brand. I don't know, I got a whole set of them. Okay, let's pull this pink out. Like I say, it will reactivate that colour underneath, but that's okay because she's very jaundiced and she needs some pink. This brush is rubbish. See what I mean? These are quite firm, so they keep their shape. And with somebody with mobility issues, or you know, like my hands go into spasm and things, a firmer brush for me is so much better to work with. So we can start to build up some colour. We'll put another colour on there as well for her shadows. But we can start to build up some colour on her. That's a really pretty colour combination, those two together, isn't it? There we go. I hope you're enjoying this as much as I am. just something a little different and bring it. I'm trying to bring back, I'm looking in well, we're struggling to get my office done because of ill health and whatnot, but as I bring my books back into my room and start putting them on the shelves, I want to bring back old books that are still available to buy on Amazon. If you guys support me and watch it, then I'll be able to continue to do that for you, because it's such a shame that we've got these awesome books and then they just kind of get forgotten. She is very streaky, so I need to sort her out. Okay, maybe I just not enough water. Okay, that's better. All right, so let's get the rest of this background done. So I'm going to come in, now I like it, I really like it, so I'm going to come in with the dark green. Yeah, dark green. Can you see everything? Yeah. So I'm going to do it the same as we did the other side, but I think I'm probably going to use more of the yellowy greens for this side. So I need to be careful around her hair. Actually, perhaps we should do her hair first. Let me just erase that so it doesn't activate. Okay, yeah, we should probably do face and hair first, shouldn't we? So I'm going to dry her face. So watch your ears. If you've got headphones on, ready, 3, 2, 1. Okay, that should do it. Alright, she's still looking very, very pasty. So maybe we'll have to bring some pencils in and finish her off. I don't know. What else have we got that we could put in? Ooh, what about a bit of, let's have an experiment, folks. I found it earlier, hang on. Let's try a little bit of English red in with that salmon pink that I put on my board earlier. Let's put some of that over there. It's dark, but then I want to pick out some shadow. A bit more salmon pink. And then let me get my brush and we'll mix that. That's a nice shadowy flesh colour. And don't forget, it will dry lighter because it's water medium. So let's just have a go. And the other thing is, if you've got decent enough paper, rinse my brush off, and you don't like it, just dilute it down and then pencils will cover over it. But I just want to see how much I can do without putting pencils on. Bit of a challenge. We need some darker up here. And then around this hairline for sure. We'll do some round her eye. And I'll drag that out in a minute so that it... Now I've had to make the decision to go there with the paint here, and I'll probably have to put pencil over some of that hair. Okay, let's keep going. I know she looks like a bit like a clown, but because we can reactivate it, I just want some colour down there. Alright, let's just plain water, let's blend this out. A bit more down here when my brush is wet. Right, now smoother strokes instead of my big bold strokes should even out this. Smoother, more gentle strokes, clean brush. There we go. Alright, I'll leave the mix on the palette. So when it dries, because obviously it dries lighter, we can go back in and deepen up any areas. So what I'm going to do is take golden ochre, the one we used on our beautiful leopard, and I'm going to do our hair in golden ochre. That will give us light, our highlights. Oh my gosh, it's such good fun, people, such good fun. Love it. You can use these on all sorts of paper, but if it's not as good quality, my suggestion would be put it on the palette and then put it down so you can control the amount of water that you put on. And also, the better the quality of paper, the easier and smoother the Neos will dissolve. Okay, let's activate her golden hair. And don't forget, it will dry lighter. Okay. So I think what I'm going to do is do the background and then come in with some polychromos just to put in some fine details and things. That's what I think. Alright, let's do the background and then we can get some, just bring out some detail with the polychromos. So where did we get to? Dark green, so I'm going to put some dark green around here now. Then I don't have to worry about covering over her hair because I can bring in the polychromos and cover it up. Alright, got enough of that. And I want to bring it in. I'm going to miss out the emerald green, I think, at the minute. And I'm going to just use the moss and the chromium oxide green. And we'll just bring in some of that lovely yellowy, brighter tone. And like I said, my plan is not to fill up the page. My plan is just to bring it to a conclusion, if you like. Okay, and then the moss green. I'm overlapping everything and I'm bringing out that moss green. Get lighter as I come towards that edge. So I can just drag it out with the water and so we've got a faded edge. Okay, let's go. Right, what's this one? I need a bigger brush for this. This is a Tim Holtz media brush, size 6. And I'm going to come up here. Gosh, that takes a lot of water, that brush. There we go. We'll scrub that in. I'm not going to worry too much about her hair because we can get the polychromos on that and do a little bit of fix up. Ooh, I think it's missing that emerald green for sure, isn't it? Oh, I don't know. Let's just wait and see. Yeah, this is a mixed media brush, I think. I was gifted it, so I'm not really sure. I'm going to put clean water on this and I'm going to pull out that, soften that edge, look. I'm switching back to, do you know what, I can't fault these little Winsor & Newton brushes. By far the, you know, for this kind of thing, by far the best that I've got. Alright, I'm going to pull this bit up just a bit more. This dark. There we go. Alright. There we are. So we've got a decent background going on. Got to let that dry. I am going to let that dry. Well, I'm probably going to go off camera and dry it off, to be fair. And I'm going to get my polychromos out so that we can finish her skin, do her hair and some detailing, you know, just detailing around and see how it turns out. Alright, I'll see you very shortly. Okay, dried her off and we're going to do her skin. So I've got the polychromos out here and I've got the beige red, cinnamon, and I've got a little bit of Venetian red. So let's start with that. Let me bring you in. And I'm going to come in with the Venetian red first. And this is where I put all the, put a little bit of the shadowing in. See my hand spasm then? So annoying. Okay, we can come in here. I'm going to put it on her lips too. My hand's wet. If I dropped some on my, dropped some water on my desk, I think. So, I don't know if I said, I'm so excited. We are going down to our little caravan. My birthday's on the 17th and the husband booked it in for us for the 18th. So we're going to have a week down at our little caravan. Which is so exciting, I can't wait. I do love it down there. It's very tranquil. We go on lots of like woodland naturey walks and just enjoy being, you know? Does that make sense? Just enjoy being. And lots of people watching. I like to people watch and see what they do. And I've said about it before, but usually, because we're on a campsite, and it's we have our little caravan stored down there, and usually we have what we call in our family the shouty lady. There's always a woman screaming obscenities at her children, always. You know, the last time we went, I think, I don't know if you followed my channel long enough, you'll know that I was saying that she was effing and jeffing all over the place, and she heard one of her children swear while they were out. And the irony, she was shouting, I'm switching to Cinnamon. She was shouting, I don't want to effing hear you effing swearing out there, get in. Screaming at the top of her lungs at this poor kid. Was like, I'm really confused. You say it. What have I done wrong? So yeah, I like to people watch. Like just the way people interact, and they behave when they're on holiday. It's like they think anything goes. Isn't it weird? Okay, so a bit of cinnamon. Okay, now I'm going to go in with the beige red, which was formerly known as light flesh. And we'll soften all that off. So I could have just left it painterly, but it's nice to smooth your paper back out. And putting pencil over it when you've painted on it helps to do that. Okay, we are going to put a little bit of ivory as well. There's one in here with a girl with a duck, and it's absolutely gorgeous. But I thought this would be a good one for us to have a go at, and sort of get me back into using all the different mediums and stuff that I'd sort of steered away from. Okay, I want some ivory. Here we go. A little bit of ivory. Because it's surprising how quickly you forget what you've learnt when you were using them. Well, my brain doesn't retain anything at the best of times, never mind, you know, anything else. So we're just going to put that bit of ivory in her skin here, give her a bit of a glow. And it also tones down the jaundice. And just helps our pencils all mix in. Okay. So her skin looks much better. I want to put a little bit of cinnamon on the lip. And that's the only thing I find with heavy grayscale. It's very difficult to cover it over it all. And then the rosy beige. Not rosy beige, is it? Beige red. Okay, so we've got some skin. Now let's consider our hair. What colour hair are we going to have? Oh, we're going to have some burnt sienna, that's for sure. Some burnt sienna. And I think we'll go with, let's see. Burnt sienna. Come on, Lucy, wake up. Brown ochre. All my browns are very tiny in the Polychromos set. Bista. Oh, Bista might be quite nice. Let's try that. And we can use some ivory as well, I think. So let's come in with our darkest colour that I've picked out, which is the burnt sienna. And we're going to pull out these dark spots. So everywhere there's really dark stuff, let's get some burnt sienna in. And that'll match our like russet colour down here. Can you see everything? Yeah. There we go. Sorry, it's going to be another long one, but I didn't post last week because I've not been very well. I've got degenerative arthritis in my spine, and I'm not getting on very quickly with trying to get some help with the NHS. Still haven't even had a scan to see what, you know, what's happened, but it's causing pain in my hip when I walk, those kind of things. So occasionally I'll do something, you know, just minor, and it will flare right up, and you know, then I can't sleep, and then the fibromyalgia kicks in and all the rest of my ailments that you don't want to hear about, you know, the anxiety and, oh yeah, life. So that's why I wasn't about last week, so I do apologise. I never just, oh, I can't be bothered. It's none of that. I can promise you, because this is my life. I love it. I love what I'm doing, and I love you guys, and the support you give me is amazing. The friends I've made over the years is just, well, you know, I would never have found them without this hobby. This community is the best, in my opinion, on YouTube. Certainly the friendliest, certainly the most generous, certainly the most understanding. I think so. Okay, we're getting there now. Take a little bit of time. And I don't know if you want to see all this process of me trying to fill all this hair in, but I'm just following all the dark spots, so maybe I should just so ultimately covering the grayscale, because I drew this. Aren't I clever? Oh, I wish, people, I wish. I have images in my head of pictures that I'd like to draw and can't do it, and it's the most frustrating thing in the world. Okay, so we've got some burnt sienna. Let's come in with a tiny bit of the Bista and pull that in, just so that we can soften off the dark parts of the hair that we've just put in. I don't want to spend too long faffing, but this is something I couldn't have done with a paintbrush, because shaky hands and lack of skill, if I'm honest. And I think that's one of the things that one of the things that appealed to me about colouring is you don't have to be able to draw. Okay, I'm going to put some ivory in now and pull out those highlights, because all we've got underneath them is the Neocolor. So this ivory should show up really nicely. That Neocolor golden we put in, didn't we? And it just helps to blend and smooth all those strokes that we've put in as well. Okay, I need a bit of Vista here, Vista. We've got a little bob. See, you don't have to do much. There we go. All right, we're going to put a little bit of this burnt sienna in our Leopard, or our Leopard. I'm such an idiot. But I suspect a lot of you have clicked off anyway now and won't listen to my ridiculous comments, because this is, as usual, going to be a very long video. But because I didn't post last week, I feel like I owe you that. So I'm going to come in here with this burnt sienna and just pull out some of this. Just gently pull out some of this. And you can keep going like this until your heart's content, really. But and then, now I don't want to put Vista in, I want an orangey colour, don't I? So let's go in with, I don't want it too orange. We'll go in with a little bit of, oh, sanguine, that might be good. Burnt ochre, terracotta, sanguine, here we go. Let's have a little bit of sanguine, just for that transitional area. Polys are perfect for this, look. The colours that they've got in the set. Very beautiful earthy tones. Okay, and then I think I'm going to add some, let's see, dark Naples ochre, I think, if I can find it. Here we go. Sorry folks. Dark Naples ochre, here we go. And we'll just stuff a little bit of that in for some, like, highlight and blending. What colour eyes do leopards have? Are they green, or are they, is that a jaguar? I'll have to look them up. Okay, that's very yellow. So I don't want too much of that. But a little spot of it is quite nice. Okay, a little bit of the ivory, just a little bit. Let's bring out those softer areas. Okay, are Jaguar's eyes orange or or green? I don't know. Let's get a picture. I know it's not a Jaguar that I want. It's a Leopard. Oh, there's one. Oh, they've got like a lovely greens, soft greens. So let's see. We've got May green, earth green yellowish, and chromium green opaque. Okay, that's what I want. May green. That's earth green yellowish. Yep, that's the one. And we'll go chromium green opaque. And so chromium green opaque, and we'll go for a little bit of good measure chromium oxide green. Alright, just because I like to make editing hard for myself. So let's go in with our lightest, which is May green. And we'll come in round here. Like that. And then the earth green yellowish. And then the chromium green opaque around that pupil. And then just a tad more of the, just to deepen that up even more, a little bit of the chrome oxide green, which is lovely and dark. And then we'll come back in with May green. And again, a little bit of ivory. And then I want a white gel pen. And we'll bring that eye back to life with a little bit of those reflections in there. There we go. Pen's beginning to work now, of course. There we go. Alright, we'll do the same on her eye. May green, earth green yellowish. Chromium green opaque. And then we'll have a little tiny bit of that very dark one. Okay, and then she needs some highlight in there too. Bring her to life. Alright, so I want to come back to the burnt sienna and do her eyebrows. There we go. And some lashes. Now I'm not going to colour them individually. I'm just going to fill that up into, you know. There we go. And we can put some burnt sienna on those dark parts of her lips too. Like that. Alright. What have we got left? Oh, this jacket. I don't want to do an awful lot to her. I want some grey. I think I'm going to keep this white. So I want some warm grey, I think. Warm grey 2. Let's see if I can find that. Yeah, Warm grey 2? Yeah, warm grey 2. Alright. And then I'm going to wipe this off, I think. Now, I had a disaster. My Juilliard number 2 died. My favourite colour for all of this. It died. Now, I'm going to have a go at squeezing some out in a minute, but I doubt it. And then... Okay, so warm grey 2 for that. And then I want some blues just to sort of refine this. So we're going to go in with Helio Blue Reddish, I think. Oh no. Yeah, let's try that first. Helio Blue Reddish. Here we go. No, that's turquoise. That would be no good. Helio Turquoise. Sorry, folks. Helio Blue Reddish. Here we go. And I'm just going to, like I said, I'm not doing an awful lot. I'm just going to pull out some parts. I like the watery look, the watercolour look, but it's nice to be able to smooth it out. Okay. Here we go. Yes, so I'll be able to come back and do a people watching report, which I do most years. I come back and tell you there's always that nightmare family, isn't there, when you go on holiday? Always. I will come back and report. It's not till May, but I'll come back and let you know all the juicy gossip and details of the nightmare family, the shouty lady. And I'm not just talking about families that, mums that, you know, have just lost their rag with children just playing up. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about there's always a family that just don't stop shouting the whole time. You know, unnecessarily berating their children and, yeah, not good. I have stepped in on one occasion. I did step in. There was a family that was very, very drunk, causing a lot of trouble. And cut a long story short, she said, "Oh, I suppose you're one of those, are you, that are going to, you work here, do you?" I said, "No, I don't. I'm a social worker." And obviously we reported them to the campsite. We never saw them again, so I don't know what happened. But she promptly left my vicinity once I told her that I was a social worker, which, being in the drunken state that she was, so she should have done. Okay, light blue. No, sorry. Sky blue. Is that right? Sky blue? Yeah, sky blue. We're going to put a little bit of that in. A little bit, just a little bit. There we go. Alright, I'm going to use the light grey on those buttons. That grey that we used for her shirt. Like that. A bit more of the Helio reddish blue. Thing to note though is the more polychromos you put down, the more intense that colour is going to become, and I don't want to lose this kind of painterly vibe. Okay, and we're going to put the grey in the zip. Just going to blend that into the coat as well. Okay, and then I'm going to take a white pen, if I've got one that works, that is. Posca. And I'm going to take out this edge on the collar. Like that. And then cover over those lines. Sometimes it's a blessing if your pen doesn't work that well. Okay, we're going to put just some little white highlights around those buttons. Like that. And his nose needs some highlight. It's got to have a little wet nose. Boop. Such an idiot. And on there. Alright, and then we just need a darker grey for that zip, just to bring that out a bit. So let's go with a colder grey, and we'll go cold grey 5. And I've just got to find it. That's warm grey. Cold grey 4, cold grey 5. Here it is. There we go. Alright, and we'll just bring out that detailing on the zip. I'm just tracing over Grazio's line work, that's it. And then we'll just have a little bit of shading on the grey up the side here. Maybe on that little naza. Ooh. Do I need to cover over all of these spots, do you think? Could put some in, couldn't I? But then you start a whole thing going then, where I have to start fiddling and faffing and spoiling things. But actually I think that would work. Just a little bit of scribble where we've put pencil and Neo and kind of lost the intensity of his spots. And folks, I think, get off, I think I'm done. I think if I faff about anymore, I'm going to ruin it. And I'm really pleased with coming back to my Neocolor 2s and being brave enough to put it straight on the paper. And I think I'm going to call it there. So thank you for joining me and giving me the inspiration and the bravery to come in and do this. So yeah, I will put a link down below for this book if you want to get it off Amazon. I don't think it's that expensive, to be honest, compared to some Amazon books. So yeah, let me know if you like this, me pulling back older books that are still available on Amazon, and we'll do some colouring in them. So God willing, everything's okay and calm, and I'll be back on Monday. We'll do a page in our little illustrations book by Radar Prints. Yeah, so thank you for joining me. Have a wonderful weekend. And for members, I'll see you Sunday. And if not, I'll be back to bother you on Monday. So take really good care of yourselves, and I'll see you whenever we meet next. Bye.